Welcome and welcome back to my channel. I'm Amanda. I'm playing with my counterfeit kit and the challenge number 1, which is love. I had started off with these larger alphas for the title, but I thought that was too big. So I'll show you how I set it up for these smaller ones I picked up from Studio Calico, which does mean that I am restarting with my piece of paper. So I'm just going to cut this down to 12 by 12, and I need a new blade, and so that side went okay, and then this side, when I went to cut it, just because it's such a little bit, ate it up really badly. So I decided to make this 11.5 by 11.5, and then I will border it in a different cardstock. So what I was looking at is this picture of my daughter, and she's at the Okotoks Film Festival last year, and we're just coming in, but her group that put in this film that they did actually won the youth category. So this is what I want the title to stay, and I want it to be basically the whole background. I want the title to be the background. So a little bit of embellishing, but lots of stamping on this. So the first thing I did was, you see me with some of those letters, I was just kind of placing it out where I thought they would go. Now I'm going to use my pencil and I'm going to draw lines because I do want this to be pretty straight, and so this takes me a long time to do. So I'm just putting a line at 1 inch. These are not 1 inch tall, so it gives me enough room in between for spacing wise. They're all the same height, which is lovely for these Studio Calico letters. And I wanted these ones just because they were an outline instead of that full-on stamp. So I can make the title look a little different than what the background is, but still work. So to show you doing part of the Okotoks, and then I will skip ahead because each of these takes a little bit of time to do. So I am going to kind of put this out for where I think it should go, and obviously having to reuse some of those letters because I only have 1 O and Okotoks has 3 O's. So I'm going to set it up so I can do as many letters together as possible. So which takes a little bit, and then I'm going to take my block and put it on my block, and then I'm going to ink it up. This is Azalea from Hero Arts, and I chose this one because it definitely plays off the billboard color in the background. So, and my head gets right up there so I can make sure it's straight. On it goes, and then I'm going to put another OK, and then the O's have an opening at the top, so I wanted to make sure that stayed at the top. I didn't want them to be all over the place, so that's something that I've been pretty cognizant of. And so here's the rest of it. So I did Okotoks Film Festival Youth Winners, and then on each of those lines, whatever word was there, I did it in black, which I totally forgot I was going to do it in black but spell love, but I didn't, so that's what it is. I'm going to take a white eraser and erase all that pencil lines, so that actually makes it really nice. And then I did get a little bit of ink on the bottom here, so I'm just going to use this whiteout pen that's liquid whiteout to cover up some of those. If you get really close to the page, you can tell there's whiteout on it, but otherwise you can't see it, so it's not a big deal. And then I don't have to restart this or cut it out or any of those kind of things, so yay. And then that's the picture I want to use. So I did pull out some stuff, and so this is a Studio Calico really old chipboard set, and so I thought that one might work. I don't use the banner piece, but I do use this star in a different spot, and then I'm going to pull out this piece that says magic. And so that, and then I have these cameras from Simply Stated Design, and they are so pretty. Look at them. And it pulls in all that color that's in that background advertisement thingy. And so I am going to use these. I have a lot of pictures to document of this first one for film festival, but they also ended up at the Calgary International Film Festival this last September, and they ended up being shown in Paris, France for their film. So also cool. So yay. I'm just looking at my scraps for a colored piece of cardstock that will mat this. I pulled that darker one out because I thought maybe, but I found this lighter pinky one, and I'm definitely going to go with that one. And I'm going to chop the photo down just a little bit, just because there was some extra on the top and the side, and I don't really need the extra. This is in the doorway as you first come into the theater at Okotoks, and so there's not a lot of room to take a picture there, so that's why she got caught off a little bit, because I still wanted to have that, all of the wordy bits on there. So yeah, so I'm just trying to decide which way I want to go with the double matte. So it's going to go pink and then black. I am going to skip ahead, so that is all done, because I'm literally just matting the picture. So that's going to go about here, and there's that bit on the bottom there, and that camera's going to cover that bit of wasted space because there's nothing there. And so we're going to look like this so far. And get this on. And I'm looking at this, and I could have spaced those words out a little bit better, so I am going to add a little bit to the top there here in a minute. I am going to play for a second to try and figure it out, and I'm like, it's just not quite making me happy. I did pull out my media scribble sticks because I thought maybe I would use one of them to add some color to the background, but I practiced on that other piece of paper that I had, and I wasn't liking how that was going on, so it didn't even make it onto this one, so I did not show you guys that. And then this is where I decide that it needs something at the top here, so I'm just going to spell out their film, which is the Raven. And that will bring that background bit nicely, because I did want it to line up mostly with the photo, and it wasn't quite. So I skipped ahead, did the same thing in the azalea first for what I want to stand out, and then the black around. So that works well. Makes me happy. The camera's going to go up here in a second. So I decided I didn't like the way that the shadow was on the bottom, and so I'm just going to fussy cut that off. I'm not going to make you watch all of that. It's done. Yay. And so I did think about trying to put a couple little things in the middle of that title, but it's just going to get framed on the top and bottom. And then I do have these Ellie Edwards phrase stickers, so I am going to put some on here. So this one says "so proud," so try that one on the top first. This one says "superstar," and then that one says "share your magic," and I'm going to change the spots for the "so proud" and the "share your magic," just because it'll nestle nicely. Sorry if you heard that in the background. And then looking for some more to round up the top. So this one says "glimmer," and then I am looking for somewhere to put a love in here, because that's my challenge, and I forgot all about what I was going to do with the stamping. So I gotta make it work, so it's still part of the challenge. So there is a black love right here, and so that works out all right. It got on there, minimally on there, I guess so, but yeah, it is what it is. I was looking at the spellbinders. I think they're called gemstones, and so I pulled the these black ones out, and I pulled out this Simple Story sticker book that I still am using up. And so I'm going to cut just a smidgen off of here and use that in behind the photo in that tab, just to add some interest, a little more interest to the page. And it kind of reminds me of like a playbill or ticket stub, that kind of thing. So I thought, why not? It didn't quite go on there exactly the way I wanted it to. So I'm just going to put some glue on the back and then line it up this way and then get it down, because that's how I thought about doing it. And then this will go on this way. Just want to make sure that's straight. And that works good. I had that So Proud upside down, so I had to switch that. And then just move that other one's up a little bit because I did move my photo up just a smidgen. And so I like that more, and that works out good. Or well, I thought about that flare badge from Some Assembly Required, not yet. I am going to keep it with a lot of the stuff I've been using on this page, because as I said, I do have a lot of these to scrapbook, and they'll go all together in her scrapbook, so I want them to kind of match. They don't have to be exactly the same, but match-ish. Some similar elements so that they tie together. So just looking to see if there was anything else. Then I decided I'll take the top of this that I used on the other side and sneak it underneath the camera. And I'm going to trim off a little bit of the top here because it was a little larger than I wanted it to be. And so it's going to sneak in behind this. All those glue dots. They're so sticky. But yeah. So that works out pretty good. And then that piece I cut off, I thought about trying to sneak it somewhere else, but it's not going to work. I don't want to cover up that "the" for the title. That's why I trimmed the bottom shadow off of the camera, so I'm not going to cover up again. And then I have these 49 in Market little ticket stubs and stuff. This I got in a box from Some Assemblage Required, and so I thought this gray and the green would work well for what is going on so far. So one of these little tiny tickets is going to get stuck up here behind the camera, and then I'm going to get this other one on here as well. And trying out the different spots. And it's going to go right here beside the camera, the other camera. And I like that. And then I'm going to use one of these small frames of the 3, and I am going to get it nestled, nudged in behind here. And I do know that I'm going to have a piece of cardstock that goes along, so that will work. I thought about trying to get a little bit of this green up here with the inside bit, but I've used the inside bits before. It's just not going to work on this time. And so I'm going to put it on black because I think black will make it pop just a little bit more. And then this I'm going to cut so I can use it on both sides. And I put, so the one's on my page there, and then I put it, it is going to go here. It's going to end up actually a little higher up when I'm done, but I put it down when I go to, so it's kind of stuck there. I'm going to move this off to the side here in a second. Oh, I moved it off to the side, and then I'm going to gut this black because I can always use black cardstock. So I'm just putting my paper at 10 and cutting, well, at 12 and cutting the excess off, and then at 10 and 2, and then the outside edges at 10, inside I'm cutting along the trimmer at 10 to 2. And so then it gives me about an 8-inch square. Is it perfect? No. Do I care? Not at all. And then it makes it really easy to put the glue down on here, and then to pop this on, I pop it on crooked, like really crooked, and then I go, and then I go to try and take it off, but I'm going to rip that cardstock that I'm working on, so it's just going to stay crooked. And it's really crooked, so it kind of looks intentional crooked, so that's good. Do I know why it's so crooked? Nope. I'm just adding some glue onto this. You can't see because I'm a little off the screen, but and then just sneak it underneath the different layers. It just adds a little bit of green. She's in green. There's a little green in the background of the photo, so I just wanted to pull a little more green out into the page. There's a little green in those cameras. And then I cleaned up because I had to find this piece, and I cut all my cleaning up out of the video because you don't want to see me clean up. But I put all my stamps away and like did a whole bunch of tidying because I literally could not find this piece, and it was stuck to the back, which it happens. So I'm just going to use the outer bit of a strip here, and then it just brings that green to this side too, and it's on the black and not at all on the white, and that's totally okay. And then I decided I wanted some splatters, so I'm going to use the azalea and a little bit of water, and I'm going to use a really small paintbrush so I can get some pretty small splatters, because I don't want anything massive, or like I don't want big droplets. I just want tiny little splatters. So I do it in the azalea, and then I'm going to do it in black. And same thing, itty bitty little splatters, which you'll see in some of the close-ups. It just adds a little bit of something to the background, but I didn't need a huge amount, just a little. And so that works pretty good. And I'm still not quite sure I'm finished, so I do look at it for a little bit. And then I decide I'm going to pop forwards here. I do want to do the same thing with the ink, and I'm going to use the same paintbrush, but I'm going to color in all of the pink letters of the title to make them pop a little bit more. So I just show you a little bit of that. The last bit of the ink that's on here, I'm just doing the super fine splatters. And then I'm going to ruffle this up. I'm almost done here. And I want to put those Spellbinders sparkles on. So I did think about using another, like one of these. And I don't like the white on the other white. They're too different. So I'm going to go back to this Ali Edwards one. And I'm going to put one more word phrase on here. So this one says, choose to shine, because they definitely did that. And then I'm going to use my little spatula and get some of these gemstones on. So there's going to be 3 in each of the areas. And one big one, and then these really little fine ones that I really like. So each of them gets one big one and then a couple of the finer ones. And it does add a little bit more sparkle to the page. They are like a solid black, so it does tie in the black in different spots as well. That one, the sticky spot, stuck to my spatula, not to the gem, but now it's stuck properly. This works really well, but I have to be careful on how much and how forceful I am with my spatula to pick these up, but it does allow me to get them down pretty good. And then there's one up on this corner on the pink, right there. And that is the page done. So here's a little bit of a close-up, and then I'll have some still shots here to follow. I'm really quite happy with how this turned out. So there you can see some of that smaller, finer splatter, and that top, the title, and this corner with my daughter, and then the page all together. Oh, sorry, bottom corner, and then the page all together. Thank you so much for watching today. If you liked my video, I would love it if you gave me a thumbs up. If you comment, I will see your comments and respond back to you. If you haven't subscribed yet, there's a subscribe here and a couple other videos. Thank you so much for watching today. Have yourself a wonderful crafty day.